cardboard truck right in the middle.
There's no one path to recovery, and each person has their own recovery. What we do have here is a panel of experts who we're going to hear from their experiences of what worked for them.
I go to several AA meetings a week. I have a sponsor. I work the 12 steps. And without all that, I would not be sitting in this chair today. I would probably be dead.
I haven't used. It's been 3.5 years. I never had a legal beer in my life, actually.
I had this image of what drug addicts look like, sort of maybe from the movies or from our own stereotypes. They sure didn't look like my son. When my son got addicted to, methamphetamine and heroin, and it was hell that lasted for 5 or 6 years, and there were times when I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to survive, and I learned that we survive and we continue on, and we are more resilient than I ever knew I was. And the other thing is, some of it is, I guess, the cliche that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it almost killed me. It almost destroyed my marriage. But I think because of that, I think that I look at the world differently. I appreciate things more. I appreciate my family more. My marriage is stronger than ever because we did survive that. When Nick was growing up, I imagined all the things that we imagine for our kids. It was sort of a path that we expect our kids to go on. Not that there won't be bumps in the road, but, he was going to go to school, he was going to go to college, and at some point, maybe hopefully meet somebody that, fell in love and have a good relationship. And it was inconceivable that path would take the detour that it took. When Nick was out of money and wanted to score drugs, he did things that were completely inconceivable that he would ever do. And he broke into our house, and he broke into friends' homes, and he stole from, not just from me, credit cards and checks, but he stole from his little brother and sister. And one day Jasper, who was 5 or 7 years old, came in and with his a little box where he kept his meager savings of $5 or whatever, and he said, "I think Nick took my money." And how do you explain to a child that his big brother stole from him? How could he do this to us? How could he do this to me? I knew he loved me, and I knew he loved his brother and sister and his mom and his stepmom, and how could he do this to us? And there was this fantasy, I think, that I had, and I think that we have, that they're out there getting high, they're having fun, they're just going wild, and I realized over time that no, Nick was not out there having fun. He was in hell. I tell the story in my book of being shopping for groceries one day. The song came on the PA system in the store, and it was a song that it was about Eric Clapton's song about his son dying, I lost it, and so the kids kind of dashing around the corner, and they saw their dad in the grocery store, crying, and it was not easy for them. First of all, they worried about him. Second of all, they didn't understand, and third of all, and maybe worst in some ways, was that their parents couldn't take care of them. We did our best, as I said, but they'd wake up in the morning for breakfast, and they'd see that we'd been up all night. Because we keep it a secret, we don't talk about it. Then when somebody starts to use, we keep it a secret. If it's our child, we keep it this deep, dark family secret because we're afraid we're going to be judged. What are they going to think of me? What do they think of my son? Drugs are evil. Drugs are bad. It's really hard to find people compassionate about people with drug problems until it's somebody in their family. The way that I have come to understand his addiction, and I think the addiction of a lot of other people, is that they are trying to treat themselves with self-medication for other problems. And it could be anything from a serious mental illness to the stresses of life. And this expectation that we're supposed to be happy and life is supposed to be easy, it then makes people, first of all, We don't know what it feels like to be unhappy. We don't tolerate it. Feel like there's something wrong, bigger wrong, that it's not okay and I must be in trouble. There must be something seriously wrong with me, and you don't have anything to compare about. But also, I guess I sort of said this, but you don't learn how to sit with feelings that are uncomfortable. A lot of life is some of it's hard, really hard, and some of it's just boring. And if you don't know how to cope with that, then drugs present a easy answer. At least they appear to. I went to see a doctor in Los Angeles at UC Medical Center, and she showed me the pictures of kids on drugs, and she compared them to kids who weren't using. And the kids on drugs, their brains were different. And so when I saw that, I thought, no wonder he's doing these things. No wonder he's crazy, because his brain is broken. It's malfunctioning. And so I think that once I understood that, it was easier for me to be compassionate toward him. And when he understood that, he recognized that he was sick and he wanted to get better. And then he went into treatment finally at that point, and he did everything they told him. And he participated in all of the groups, and it was a complete difference because he understood that he was ill and he wanted to get well. Most drug use isn't about drugs at all. It's about growing up. It's about living. And it's hard to live and it's hard to grow up. And so when we recognize that and we start to deal with the problems that lead to drug use and we help kids grow up, we look very, very closely. We monitor them. We have support in their schools. We have counselors and therapists and access so that as soon as we see kids having problems, whether it's about stress or whether it's about familial problems or whatever it is, and we're there to help them. Instead of vilifying them and isolating them and attacking them and blaming them and throwing them in jail, when we start to realize that this is a problem, a health problem, and they need some help, then we'll start to change. I think we'll start to see that fewer people will use and fewer people will become addicted.